Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ashley. Today I'm back with another ASMR video for you. In today's video, I'm gonna be filming a reading wrap up, as you can tell from the title. But before anything, I do want to apologize for the background noise, you guys. I tried to turn the gain down, and obviously I'm soft speaking instead of whispering to try to make audio better for you. But genuinely, I had to film this reading wrap up, and I tried to turn off my AC, which is like ghetto central AC that's really loud. That's probably what you mostly hear in the background. And I also brought a fan because I put it like on low cool, and so I could make the noise like a little bit better. And I brought a fan directly pointing to me, so it's a struggle bus, but I really wanted to film this for you guys, so I hope that is okay. Yeah. How are you all doing though? I'm so excited to film this reading wrap up because I haven't done one in months, so I think it'll be really fun. But I hope you're all doing really great today. I'm really happy to see you and film for you and talk about books. So yeah, today's the 1st of September. I've been in a really good mood and I'm just excited. I don't know. There's a lot of cool things coming up, and I just feel like it's already fall, even though again it's so hot here. It's just so humid too today because it's been cloudy, and I don't do well with it, guys. So anyways, enough of the chit chat. I hope that the audio is not horrible for you. I'm trying my best, guys. But let's get to the books that I read this month, or these past few months. Alright, you guys, so I am gonna kind of be looking over here because I have my notes over here. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk about the books I read the past few months and kind of go over the ratings and whatnot. So I do want to start by saying that April I read nothing, if you can believe that. I think it's because I was just doing Japan trip prep, which, if you don't know, I went to Japan at the end of April, but I did post a few videos about that. If you're interested, I will link them. But I read literally nothing. I feel like I started a few books, but then I just never got around to them. So April read nothing. So in May, I did read 2 books. So the first book that I read is this one right here. This is Brushing Off Business by Amira Denali. It's a very cute cover. I love that. It's really cute. Really cute. This is kind of a short book, guys, but I did rate this 3 stars. I had put 3.75 or 3.5, but honestly the reason I bumped it down is because while I was reading it, I was having a lot of fun with the characters and with the dynamic. If you're curious about what it's about, it is obviously romance, as you can tell, but it's just about this girl who, she's a business lady, and she's very into her job and very frigid, you know. It's reverse Grumpy Sunshine, is it called? She's the grumpy workaholic, and she meets this artistic laid back guy. They meet at an elevator. He's sick while he's in the elevator, so he ends up getting her sick. She's kind of mad. She's I can't go to work. But they have the cutest dynamic, and he's really patient with her, which I really liked. I laughed out loud a couple of times reading this book, but honestly, I think the reason why I gave it just 3 stars is because it was okay. I was really enjoying it while I was reading it, but the characters are not memorable. It wasn't changing for me. And for me, guys, I do have a few 5 stars here, but for a book to be 5 stars, it has to like alter my chemistry. Like it has to really like kind of be something that I'm never gonna forget. So this was just okay. I would still recommend it. It was like a fun short read. Yeah, I would read it more like towards the summer, just because, or like spring, because it's like that cute romancy vibe. But yeah, really cute story and did the job, so 3 stars. The next book I read is of course Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. You know what's so funny is once I read this, I grabbed this book obviously to read it, I realized that I don't have any of the Hunger Games books. I read them when I was younger, but I don't have any physical copies, which is weird. So now my mission is to like find those in thrift stores, or I don't know, I need to obtain them somehow. But yeah, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I gave this book 5 stars, you guys. No notes. I cried so much. I mean, everyone must know the Hunger Games franchise, but this is the story of Haymitch, who's Katniss and Peeta's mentor during the first Hunger Games, during all of them, but during the Hunger Games. He is, I believe, first victor for District 12. But this book is about Haymitch's story, and you know, it talks about a romance he had. Really sad. Oh my god. I love the love interest for Haymitch, and you know, it just bleeds into what's that other one, the Songbird, Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. Long story short, the reason I rated this 5 stars is obviously about his Hunger Games. To me, it has been one of the most interesting arenas that they fought in for the Hunger Games. I just love like Haymitch as an older sibling. I love the romantic aspect. I love him as a sibling and as of like, I'm an older sister, so I'm not the oldest. I have one older sister, but I really relate to characters that are older siblings, that take care of their younger siblings, like Katniss and Haymitch, you realize. And yeah, I just love like that he's like so mellow, and he was like such a good person. I mean, he still is. It's just, you know, you also get into why he became an alcoholic, which is so sad. I could cry thinking about it, but like, amazing book, and I love that it did the job and that so many people liked it, because Hunger Games is already such a like completed world by Suzanne Collins, so for her to like live up to that and have people like still rate a new book 5 stars is like really amazing to me. So really loved Sunrise on the Reaping. If you haven't read it, highly recommend before watching the movie, if you like, you know, to know what happens. Yes please. 5 stars. Now, those were the 2 books that I read for May. In June, I did read 4 books, but 2 were full length and 2 were short stories, short books. The first book I read was Never Lie by Frida McFadden. So, I rated this book, guys. It's like one of the lower ratings I've given. This is a 2.75 for me. So basically in this book you are following, like, the beginning vibe is really cool, because it's like this guy and his girl, they're going to like this house that they're going to buy, right? So they get there and basically realize that what do you call those people that sell houses? Realtor? the realtor is not there, so they just drive up this like snowy driveway, and there's like this big house, and it's in the middle of nowhere, and the realtor's not there. So they're kind of like, okay, like what do we do? Long story short, they end up getting stuck there, like snowed in, and they can't leave. So I'm sure you know, but Frida McFadden is a thriller author, right? So in true Frida McFadden nature, whatever, it has like that aspect of like, who's the bad guy here, you know, like, okay, I think it's the girl, no, I think it's the guy, no, there has to be someone else, it's like the realtor, she's fucking with them or something, you know. So it has that creepy aspect, and then basically what happens is like this girl finds like this room where it's like a psychologist's tapes of sessions of people, and she kind of starts getting more scared, and you're like, okay, is she just being paranoid because she's listening to these audios? You don't really know. But anyways, it follows that kind of story where they're kind of stuck there, you know, and they're just trying to tough it out until this storm goes away, or the realtor shows up, and you find out some shit that went down at that house. So the reason I gave it a low rating, I did not guess the plot twist. I think it was close, but I didn't guess it. It's just because it took me forever to read, and I feel like thrillers should be like, you want to know what happens next, and I just was not invested in anything. Like, I was just like, okay, so this happened, but I don't care, you know. I do love Frida McFadden. I think that she is very good at keeping you hooked. So I know that what I said was just contradictory, which is why I rated this lower, because yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. I was just expecting like a fast-paced thriller, and it just didn't hook me. Maybe just like I was like not in the mindset for it, or I really don't know, but this wasn't it for me, so 2.75. The next book that I read is actually on my Kindle. So I do have my Kindle here. These are my current stickers. I am gonna change them out because I like to change them out like by season. So, you know, I feel like it's fall vibes now. It's still, I know it's still summer, okay, so it's fall for me. But if this is backwards, okay. So these are my current stickers. I do have a little bibliotherapy like pill bottle with books in there, and then I have this stack of books with a little mug and like a few famous books right here. Then I have this little light bulb. It has a book inside, and it actually says reading is lit, but I thought that was kind of cringy, so I covered it up with this one. And you can't really see the sticker, but it just says it's Andarna. It says Andarna, which is one of the dragons in Fourth Wing, and then it says we do not eat our allies. Then I have this little, what do you call this, like a pop socket? It's actually wearing off pretty badly, but it says emotional support Kindle. Then I have this that says most ardently. Then I have this one right here that says let's paint the town morally gray, and it's a little paint bucket. I have this novel in progress sticker and like a little loading thing. Then I have this girl, and she's just reading books, and there's like flowers coming out of them. So those are my current stickers. I don't know why I just gave you like a sticker tour, but the next book that I read is The Yellow Wallpaper. So this book is a short story. It is like, I believe it's like 30 pages, so not long at all. And it is about a lady. Well, first of all, I rated it 1 star. I don't think I've ever rated anything 1 star, you guys, but I'll explain. So it's about this lady who's basically like sheltered by her husband, right? Like she's sick or something, so he just doesn't like let her do shit. She's just kind of at home and whatever. And she's just staring at this fucking like yellow wallpaper and starts like seeing shit in it, and like, yeah, it's like the reason why I rated it 1 star is because to me it was pointless. Like, I understood what this book was trying to do, but it didn't do that for me. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was just like not emotionally moved, or like I just didn't care that much. And I understand what it's trying to do, like about women, like, you know, being put in a box and sheltered and not being able to be themselves and just kind of oppressed. I get that, but it didn't do that for me. It didn't express that for me. That's why I gave it the 1 star. And yeah, it kind of sucks. I was really wanting to like it, but yeah, so that was the yellow wallpaper. And on that note, I should do the other short story that I read. So this, on the opposite spectrum, you guys, this is The 6 Deaths of the Saint, which is also a short story. I actually don't remember. I think it's also like 30 or 40 pages. Let me see. I didn't delete this one because it's 5 stars, so you know I'm gonna talk about it. Okay, so let's see, 29 pages. That's crazy. It's like 28 pages really, because the 29th page is like about the author. This book, you guys, I read it because Haley Jean ASMR recommended it. Tell me why this 20-ass page book made me cry. Okay, like, I read it because honestly I kind of not hate read it, but I was like a little stitches, you know what I mean? I was just like, there's no way like a short story can be that like moving. I was wrong. I choke and swallow my words. Basically, what this book is about is like this girl that keeps being killed and brought back to life, as like a warrior and shit. So that's the premise of it, right? Just like her like being used to just like die and then come back to life, and then die again and come back to life, right? I can't tell you much more than that, but okay, I'm gonna read you all the quotes that I highlighted of this book, because I highlighted multiple things. It says, "Why do you stay with me? I am a devil, butcher, not even a butcher, his knife falling over and over. Wind said softly, before all this, before the saint and the prince, you were the girl who still shared her meat with the begging dogs, no matter how hungry she was, who took a beating for a boy who deserved it, for no reason except that she could bear it better than him, who shone even in the shadows. He said your name even more softly, you are not a knife, and you said wretchedly, but I am his." I will cry. I will cry. Like, how powerful is that writing? Are you kidding me? I know him, and in knowing him, I love him, and in loving him, I cannot do as he wishes. Are you kidding me? I look into the pool. I see my own face first, full of wrath, and then the little girl who I once was and will be again. Rise, I say, and then I tell her what she has wanted to hear all her life, that someone somewhere needs her, that she is not nothing. Oh, that's crazy. This is so embarrassing. It seems like staged, and like I'm not sad, but just like that writing is so good. Like the writing, guys, can you believe that like 29 pages made me cry? That's crazy. I'm sorry for that trauma. But anyways, next book, okay? So the next book I read was Fearless by Lauren Roberts. So if you do not know, this is like kind of a controversial girl here. So Lauren Roberts is kind of in like a little drama for like plagiarizing. I don't even know for what book, honestly, but I know there's something there. Honestly, this is the 3rd book in a series. It's Powerless, Reckless, Fearless, and then there's a novella in between 2 and 3, which is called Powerful. So I'm caught up on the books. This was the most recent one. Fearless redeemed the Powerless series for me because I really liked Powerless. I did not like Reckless at all, and Fearless was pretty good. Like, I'm excited to see what happens next. I thought it was emotional. It had like a lot more substance than the second book. So this series, basically you do follow a girl who lives in a world where there are elites and there are ordinaries, right? So elites are people with powers and ordinaries are people without power. But the gist is that ordinaries are not allowed, like they're forbidden. So if anyone finds an ordinary, like they have to be put to death, because the gist is like you can't breed with an ordinary because it kind of like the bloodline, it fucks it up, you know what I mean? So the premise is really cool, and I can't say too much about this book because again it's the like third book in the series, but yeah, it was a good story, a lot more substance than the second one, so I rated this a 3.75 because it did kind of redeem the series for me. But on a totally different note, for July I read 2 books. So I did start with this one. This is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is the 4th book in a series of interconnected standalones. I don't remember the characters' names. Let me see. Xavier and Samantha. Okay, so you follow Xavier and Samantha. To not give too much away, Samantha is dealing with a health issue with her mother. So her mother has Alzheimer's or dementia. Obviously, like something really hard to deal with, right? And she meets Xavier, who is a veterinarian, because she takes a little like stray cat to him, and she's kind of like, what can you do to save the cat, you know? And the cat's problem is that it doesn't have a butthole. Just so cute, you guys. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like this book, but to me it just did it for me. Like, I wouldn't say this book was life-changing for me, but I thoroughly enjoyed reading about these 2 characters. Like, I haven't thought about them since, honestly. But while I was reading, I was having such a good time, and I read it so quickly. Xavier is such a green flag, and like not in an overbearing way, just in a way that like this book's theme is like if he wanted to, he would. Now, a lot of people say that they don't like this book because it's insta-lusty. I do agree, it's insta-lovey. They like literally the second time he sees her, he asks her on a date, so it does start very quickly, and I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I do really like their dynamic. Like, you know, I love the fact that he really tries for her because she's like dealing with family shit, and he's like, dude, I want to be like a help for you, not a burden, even though he's putting in so much effort for her. At points I felt like she wasn't doing enough for him, but I feel like it's one of those where it's not always 50-50, it's sometimes 90-10 or 80-20, you know what I mean? Whenever like your partner needs it. So again, it is insta-lovey, but I thoroughly enjoyed their personalities. When she gets him out of his shell, like he's just so cute and so sweet, and she's like such a bright light, you know, and I just love that. Like, it's a really feel-good book. I did rate it a 4-star, again, just because it wasn't too memorable to me, but as I read it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I kind of wish I had annotated it because it had some pretty good ones, and I continue to love this series. So yeah, 4 stars. The next book I read is also, I actually did not read this on my Kindle, but I did let a friend borrow this book, so I don't have the physical copy. But I read Fairy by Colleen Hoover. So I know that this book has been out for a while and talked about for a while. I just hadn't gotten to it, and my friend, I had let a friend borrow it, and she was like, you need to read Verity, like, because she sits right next to me, we're co-workers as well. So she was like, she was like reading Verity, and she would like turn to look at me and be like, what the fuck? And I was like, what? So like a lot of moments where she was like shocked at what she was reading, which I can relate to when I read it. Not as much because she spoiled some things for me, but I do think it gives you that feeling of like, what the fuck? Like it's more disturbing than you would think, which is really cool. But yeah, Verity follows this girl who is an aspiring writer. She's like not super successful, but she does well for herself. And she gets this like huge opportunity where a guy is like, hey, I would like you to finish my Sick Wives series that she started. And it ends up being like this really famous author that she's like, why would you want me to do that? Like there's a bunch of other authors you could have picked, you know? But anyways, so he's like, yeah, just like come, because they're super rich. He's like, you can come and live, you know, at my house because they have a really huge home, and she's kind of down on her luck and not doing the best financially. Like she does okay for herself, but it's kind of like a living day by day type of thing. So she kind of takes the opportunity, and she's like, okay, you know, I'll try this. It seems like a lot, it's intimidating, but I'll do it. So the name of the author is Verity, and she does obviously live at the house as well. And you kind of find out some things about Verity from books that she has written, specifically an autobiography that she is kind of like shocked by. And as she's reading it, trying to get a feel of what kind of author Verity is and what she's wanting to continue the series, she is caught off guard, to say the least. But really good book, guys. I honestly rated it a 4.5. And the reason why is because although it wasn't life-changing for me, it was really shocking at times. And I think if my friend hadn't spoiled a few things for me, I would have had more of a shock factor. I think it's well written. It's a page turner like crazy. I think I finished it in like 1 or 2 days. You could definitely finish it in one sitting if you were that into it. But yeah, really good book. I think it lives up to the hype. And I rated it at 4.5. I can't wait to see the movie. So yeah. Then we go on to August, okay? And August, you guys, is a little milestone in my reading journey because I admittedly was an audiobook hater. I said it. I'm sorry. I'm not proud of it, but I was like, to me, audiobooks were like cheating, like you weren't actually reading. But I just realized that I am an adult. I truly just realized like I'm an adult and I can't sit on my ass and like read all day every day as much as I want to. I can't sit there and like read all day every day, which I'm not judging people who do, like book talkers and booktubers. Like that's awesome that you made that platform for yourself. That is my dream. But I can't do it. Like I have a fucking full-time job, like, you know, I obviously have like a little bit of a social life and whatever, and I know everyone does, but you know what I mean. Like I couldn't sit there and read as much as I wanted to, so I decided to pick up audiobooks with particularly long books, and it has allowed me to read a little bit more. I read 5 books in August, so I'm really happy about that, and I will continue. I really enjoyed the audiobooks, and I was actually invested. I thought I wouldn't be. So yeah, let's talk about them. So this is the first book that I read in August, One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. And if you do not know, this is kind of like a gothic fantasy. It is a duology in the Shepherd King series. So, really awesome cover, by the way. This book, guys, I know it's like well known and well loved by a lot of people for good reason. I did rate it 4 stars. Yeah, I will be honest with you. I was really expecting it to be a 5-star, and again, 4 stars is still super high. Like, I really did love it. But the reason I rated it 4 stars is because it took me longer than I thought it would for me to read it. Like, I wasn't gripped like that, you know? It is very fantasy heavy with the subplot of romance, which I honestly enjoyed. But there were points where, like, I was getting bored in the book. I don't know why. As I think of it, like, there were a lot of things that could have kept me reading, like a lot of plot points, but it just didn't. I don't know if I just wasn't invested or in the right headspace, but still very good. It just didn't meet that 5-star for me. Like, it wasn't life-changing. I haven't really thought of the characters after reading it, and I just read it like this past month. But yeah, you're following Elspeth, who she lives in this place where there's like a magic system, really intricate. I'm not even going to try to explain it, but there's basically like these cards that you can obtain magic from, and there's this plague that's going around that if you obtain it from like a mist, you're killed. You know, either you die from encountering the mist, or you obtain powers, which is not a legal way to have powers. The only legal way is with the cards that only certain people are allowed to have. So yeah, that's just like very base what the magic system is. I honestly think that you should read it to find out, because it is worth the read. It is really good, and the little romance that you see between Elspeth and Raven, I kind of wish there was like, I know it's like a subplot of romance, but I really like it. Like, I really liked their romance. I wish there was more of it, but it's not a romantasy, so I understand. And it gave all the gothic, all the dark vibes, like castle, like dark clothing, like creepy and eerie, and you just feel like you're walking like cobblestone streets, and it's like gloomy and rainy. I don't know, like that's how you feel while you're reading this, which is really cool. So yeah, the reason I gave it 4 stars is because I haven't thought about the characters ever since I read it, and it just wasn't like memorable to me. It just didn't stick with me the way that like a higher rated book would. So, but yeah, I really think you should read this, and I am going to read the second book in the duology in September. So alright guys, I know you might have seen this little book peeking out right here. I finally gave in. Not gave in, I've been wanting to read this. I was just intimidated, but I read the first 4 books in the ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. So I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, and A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. In August, I read these. It's crazy because again, like audiobooks saved my life with this. So I do have to say, yeah, like this series overall is really close to a 5-star for me. Not every book was a 5-star, so obviously you can't give it a perfect 5-star, but it has altered my brain chemistry, you guys. Like, it has embedded itself into my freaking mind. Like, it's so good, and I genuinely think that like people who hate on it are like being pick-me's a little bit. I know that's like dumb because everyone has different taste and whatever, So obviously that's not an accurate statement, but just the way that I love this series is just like, I can't believe that people don't love it. Like, why? Okay, I know why. Feyre's a little bit annoying, but let's get into it. I'll just talk about like overall what it's about, and then kind of give you the rating. So just to start off here, so A Court of Thorns and Roses I gave 5 stars. A Court of Mist and Fury I gave 5 stars. A Court of Wings and Ruin I gave 4.5 stars. And A Court of Frost and Starlight I gave 3.5 stars. That's the rating for these 4. A Court of Thorns and Roses is basically obviously I'm not going to talk about everything that happens in the series, but I will say this, I realized a lot of people are like, get through it, like trust me, you'll love it, and then the rest of the series is great. This was 5 stars to me, guys. Like, I know I'm bearing you into like my reading journey and stuff, but this to me is like the first Fae series that I've read, so maybe that's why I rate it highly. But this gave me all the vibes, you guys. Like, I really like the introduction to like the main character, who's Feyre. Her name's Feyre. She's basically like what happens is like she is the youngest sister of 3, and she has a sick father who can no longer provide for them. They were born into like money, and then they lost it, so Feyre has to like hunt for her family to eat and stuff, and she is the youngest sister, so she kind of takes that role. While she's hunting one day, she does end up killing a creature who is Fae, so like a fairy, and it ends up being like a royal, very important fairy. And to kind of settle that debt, like one of the fairies comes and is like, you have to come and work for me for the rest of your life and leave your family, and that's how you're gonna settle the debt. So she ends up doing that, and yeah, it just kind of goes from there. So I won't say much more, but that's how the story starts. I will say this book to me was 5 stars because I realized that this series is unlike anything I'm ever gonna read again, and I can say that with confidence. I know that Fae is like a theme that is very widely read, but I really don't think that there will be a series that can match this for me. That's why this is 5 stars, because I realized like this shit is gonna alter my brain chemistry. A Court of Mist and Fury, I can't tell you why it was 5 stars, but another character is introduced where it even tops the first one, and this is amazing. You're introduced to another world in the Fae realm that is so different and so warm, and there's an element of family and friendship that I love, and it just continues the world building. So again, this altered my brain chemistry, that's why it's 5 stars. This, A Court of Wings and Ruin, it elaborates on the world that is introduced in the second book, but this is a very political, war-based book. That's why I bumped it down like half a star, because I'm not a big fan of like following politics, and that's because the only reason is because it's hard for me to do that, and I know that's kind of stupid, but it just is hard for me to follow like the political side of everything, and it bores me at times. But I really love like the growth of Feyre as a character in this book. I think it's great. And I love how it elaborates again on family and friend things. I just bumped it down that half a star because of the politics in this book, but great read still, 4.5. And then we have A Court of Frost and Starlight. So this was a 3.5. Honestly, the reason I gave it a 3.5 is because it doesn't contribute to the series very much. Very importantly, I should say, because it does contribute some, but I do think that this book is widely hated without reason, because it is kind of like the calm after the storm. So after Court of Wings and Ruin, It's just like after everything kind of settles down and the aftermath and what everyone's doing kind of after the war. So yeah, just a cute little short novella, and I really like the vibe of this and kind of seeing how everything settled. So 3.5 stars for this one. So that brings us to the end of this video. I did read 13 books this month. I'm gonna put somewhere on the screen how many pages I read, because I think that's pretty cool to track, and I should have done that before, but I'll put it somewhere on the screen. So 13 books and this many pages. But yeah, I really like that I got into audiobooks. I did read the 2 thicker books that you guys saw in ACOTAR on audio, partly on Kindle, partly physical. But I had a great time reading the series, and of course, my current read is the last book in ACOTAR series. I am, let's see, on, I think it's chapter 12. Yes, chapter 12, page 132. So I read that much. This is my current read, A Court of Silver Flames. I will do a reading wrap up towards the end of the year, depending, or maybe towards the end of the month, depending how much I read. I don't have high hopes for this book, guys, and that is because I'm the biggest Nesta hater. Nesta's the eldest sister, like with Feyre's eldest sister, and I'm just not a fan of her. So we'll see. You guys will see my full opinion once I do read that. But yeah, you guys, I think this video is long enough, so I'll go ahead and cut it off here. I do want to thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here and watching my reading wrap up. I really appreciate you being here. I hope that you have a wonderful September. It is the beginning of the month, so I hope you just have the best time and that you're doing really well. I really love you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.